I think we're live.
We live.
We live. I never know with this thing because it always cuts off with the recording when we go to use. So I have no idea if when you click the button it actually works. So I'm going to ramble for a few seconds before we actually start. But it's awesome to see that we have a bunch of people in the chat already watching. That's kind of cool. Even though the thing
Yes.
says 0 and I see people talking, so I don't really know how to feel about all this. I'm just rambling. It's weird, ridiculously nervous, and there's absolutely no idea what reason why. We've done the show 100 freaking times already.
100 times.
I know. There you go. 8 people.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Who'd have thunk it?
Not me.
No. All right, you ready to get this shit started?
Yeah, let's go.
I am Dynasty Outhouse, and I have a trading problem.
And I'm Brian Haar, and I also have a trading problem.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Trade Addicts podcast, a member of the DLF family of podcasts. Dude, session 100. That is insane. Insane. Insane.
Insane.
Do people listen or like, I don't know. It doesn't matter, to be fair. But the fact that we still had the wherewithal to keep going after all this time is pretty shocking to me. I think this is like besides, marriage and children, this is the longest I've held on to something and kept it going.
Well, I'm glad to be on the other end of it, sir.
And I'm glad you are the other end of it. That was meant to be nice, even though it came out weird. But I feel like that's most of the things I say to you at this point.
Yeah, that's the type of relationship we have. So,
yeah. All right. So, man, I don't even know what the plan is. There's no plan. We're doing this live. I think I am going to, at some point, just shove the StreamYard link into the chat and people can jump in and we'll talk and we'll go over some stuff. Hopefully the people in the chat will have some questions for us to go over. Man, how's quarantine life treating you, Brian?
Oh man, it's different. It's different. There's no doubt about it. I'm bored a little bit. I mean, I'm not bored, but I'm bored, I'm not bored when I'm working, but when I'm not working, it's a little bit interesting.
Right? It was super weird. Like I was excited to wake up this morning and to have work to do. I mean, I work from home and Peter's making fun of the way I look already, and that hurts my feelings. But it's just like we had the weekends. We couldn't leave the house. I went for a walk for like 6 minutes.
Oh, good for you. Exercise? Nice.
Right? I just needed to get the hell out of the house. And they're making fun of my hair, which you gave me crap for last week. I haven't had hair product going on in I think about 3 weeks. This is it's freeing.
No, see, you're making us all feel better about ourselves, because if you had your hair done like you have in the past at times, I mean, we would all be sitting here going, "Oh my gosh, his hair." We wouldn't even be able to focus on football.
It's part of my charm. It's part of the way, I get away with people actually pretending like I know what I'm talking about. They're mesmerized by the flip.
Nice.
So now I better come up with some actual good things to say because it ain't going. Right. Oh, so you watched Frozen 2. Did you show it to your kid yet?
Yes, we did. We showed it to her. She enjoyed it. I don't think she enjoyed it as much as we did. It's fantastic. It's great. I was pleasantly surprised. Usually with sequels, it's like, it's hit or miss whether they end up being as good as the first one or not. I think it was every bit as good as the first one, maybe better from a musical standpoint. I mean, the music.
That would be my question. Where do you stand on the fight? Frozen 1, Frozen 2, which had the better music?
I honestly think I have to go with Frozen 2. I mean, the power ballad alone tips it for me. I mean, it was awesome.
So good.
It was so good.
I was talking about it with J Mike because he watched it for the first time, and it was a few days ago. The way I see it is Frozen 1 is like straight up karaoke. Every single song you belt along with, you have so much fun sitting there singing. But Frozen 2, the music is legitimately just better.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that because by no means am I calling Frozen 1 bad. I could literally sing every song to you guys right now. You don't want that, but I can. Just know that I can.
I mean, you better not say stuff like that tonight on the live show. They're going to be all up in your ear about that.
It'll take a lot more convincing, and I left the whiskey upstairs, which would also help. So, okay, so let's actually talk a little bit of football before, man, I just start talking about Disney because I've watched so much Disney Plus lately. It's insane.
Same.
But again, we're not talking about that right now. We're going to go, let's just, I mean, I guess let's jump into the news.
Here's the news.
See, now, how cool is that? This is like the first time a lot of people are seeing that you actually do that legitimately every single time on your own, and we're not just like making that stuff up.
I legit do.
So, by the way, if you ever want to be a part of this every single week, patreon.com/tradeaddictspod. All you need, $2 a month, gets you access to this. The live stream every week. You can jump in the chat. We can damn it, Bobby, just let it go. You let it go. Don't. All right. Back to what we were talking about. Yeah. Patreon.com/tradeaddictspod. That's awesome. Now let's actually do the news. Let's talk about running backs first. Todd Gurley gets cut. I trade for Todd Gurley in the morning. 2-3 hours later, he gets cut, and I kind of lose my shit. But Todd Gurley signs with the Falcons, which I did not see coming because it seemed like they had no money. But Todd Gurley's with the Falcons. I think that's very good. It's only a 1-year deal, I think, but that's good, right? The Falcons for Todd Gurley.
Yeah, I mean, I like it as long as his knee doesn't give out on him. I mean, the bottom line here with Gurley is the health, right? If he's healthy, I mean, if he was healthy, he would produce in the Rams offense too. And he kind of did while he was out there. It wasn't like he was, I mean, he wasn't the Todd Gurley we had been used to, RB1 Todd Gurley, but he was still decent when he was out there, scored a lot of touchdowns, that type of thing. You know, as far as the team goes, I mean, I love it. I mean, I love the Atlanta landing spot for him. To me, again, it just comes down to the knee. I mean, how bad does his and look, I know running back contracts are a thing, and we may or may not address that this evening on the show, but the contract was a thing, but how bad does his medical have to be to move on from him? Because I mean, the Todd Gurley we saw in the 2018 season was one of the best we've seen. I mean, he was just outstanding. So, I that worries me. I mean, all of that stuff worries me. I'd like to hear from the Atlanta medical staff on, oh yeah, he had a great medical. I don't know that we're going to hear that. Hearing something from somebody other than the Rams organization on his knee, which we didn't get any information. Basically, it was like, oh yeah, he's got arthritis. Like, that is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't really give us a lot of information. So, but I love the landing spot. I mean, I think he's going to catch a bunch of passes,
Exactly.
assuming he's out there. So yeah, I love it.
Well, I mean, he didn't miss games last year, did he? I don't think so. I mean, I don't think he was okay. I don't think he missed anything due to like real on injury. I think maybe he got rested for a couple of parts of games, but I don't think he actually missed any time. And Los Angeles actually stopped throwing to the running back for some reason. And Atlanta loves to do it. Devonta Freeman's gone. Ito Smith just doesn't look like he's going to be a thing. Brian Hill isn't going to be a thing.
Quadri Allison is interesting there to me.
But he's also just a big dude, right? Or is he?
Is he? Yeah, he's a power back. Yeah, he's a power back. But I think he can develop into. I got to watch him play at Pitt a few times over the years, and he's a good running back. I mean, he's not great. He's not going to be a guy that is like, that we're all clamoring here in a year or two to draft him in the first couple of rounds of a draft. But he's a guy that I think, and especially with, if Gurley does go down or he can't go because of the knee for some reason, I think Allison can step in and fill that the power back role in that offense, and I think he would be doing fine. So
I hope so, because I have him on a ton of taxi squads. Just because, why not?
Mm-hmm.
So I have started acquiring Todd Gurley in leagues I want to win because I agree with everything we've both been saying. Yes, I agree with what I've been saying, but also what you've been saying. It's to me, it's a great spot, and especially like they'll probably draft someone, I assume, at some point because you know you don't get Todd Gurley and Laquan Treadwell and not be aiming for a championship. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
So I mean, at this point, their defense is so bad,
Yeah.
but still their offense is very very good. So they might just be like last year's Chiefs sing it, where their defense was just such trash, but it didn't matter because they put up 40.
Yeah.
So I mean, like if they can get there, I think Todd Gurley would be a reason they will be there. So I am not paying as much as I thought I would have to. Sometimes I don't know. Depends. Let's. You know what? Screw it. Trade Addicts trade.
Trade Addicts trade.
Trade Addicts leagues, 12 team superflex, PPR, tight end premium, 0.05 points for return yardage. This is a Trade Addicts 3 trade. Austin Eckler, Will Fuller. I wrote the 212, but I'm guessing to the 221, but I'm guessing that's the 212 and the 301 for Todd Gurley and the 111.
Eckler. All right, read me the pieces again. It was Eckler,
Fuller.
Yep.
212, 301
for the 111
Gurley.
and Gurley. I mean, I would oh man, that's so tough because if Eckler is the same dude with the same workload as he was last year, I mean, he can potentially put up he can put up the same numbers in a PPR league that we're thinking Gurley might do in Atlanta. So so you're getting Will Fuller, who just stepped into a wide receiver 1 role. I don't know how long he's going to keep that. They might draft somebody, although they don't have any. They don't have any high picks either. So
don't need it this year though.
But yeah, that's true. It's deep.
And hey, they got Randall Cobb.
Good job, Billy. Randall Cobb for DeAndre Hopkins. Good job. No, yeah, I this one's tough. I mean, I like if Gurley can stay healthy, I think that side will be fine. If he can't, then it's a little bit risky because I do like Austin Eckler. I think he's an underrated player. I mean, even when he's last year he got the biggest workload he's had, and he was he was an RB1 and in most leagues. So and he's been viable even behind Melvin Gordon in that offense in previous seasons. So I do like Eckler. Fuller, I mean, he probably just pulled a hamstring, to be honest.
Yeah.
So that's a thing too. And those picks are low enough. I mean, they're okay. I mean, they're going to be nice pieces in this draft. Still guys that have a chance at hitting, but I'm going to say Gurley side, but it's real close.
Yeah, that was me. I got Todd Gurley. So here's my feelings about this. I don't believe in Will Fuller. That's a lie. I believe in Will Fuller when DeAndre Hopkins is on the other side and Will Fuller can actually stay healthy.
Yeah.
Both of those things are just not going to happen. And even if I were to say, hey, I'll just take the 6 games of 30 points that Fuller can probably put up, 30 points each, I should say, because that just seems to be what happens when he and Watson are healthy. Mm-hmm. But Nuke not being there is insane. Like Will Fuller is not the main guy. That's just not anything I don't think he can be. So I'm fine to ship him off. The 212 and the 301 are ridiculous dart throws. Mm-hmm. So this honestly is Eckler for Gurley in the 111 to me. And I think that's something I would easily do. Which obviously it is because that's what I did.
You did, right?
Yeah. So like to me, Fuller, 212, 301 were literally just bolsters. They were just like make this look nicer. I do love Eckler. I always have. He was my most owned player 2 years ago. He had 97 targets last year. Is he going to get 97 targets from any other quarterback that's not Phillip Rivers?
Probably not. I think he'll still get some from Tyrod.
Oh,
If
absolutely.
Tyrod's the
Like he
guy.
will.
I mean Taylor when Taylor was in Buffalo, I think I could be mistaken here, but was Fred Jackson around first, and then it was Shady McCoy or whatever? I can't remember. Buffalo running backs. I kind of black out when it comes to Buffalo fantasy players for like a 5 or 6 or 12 year window. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
'cause-
now they're starting to build, um, but yeah, I feel like Taylor dumped off to the backs quite a bit too. So I'm not. I'm thinking. I mean, it's not going to be anything like Phillip Rivers. I mean, my gosh. I mean, all that guy does is dump off to the running backs. So
exactly. Which go by Nyheim Hines, which I have also done a
yes.
lot. But that's kind of what worried me a little bit about Eckler, and I just want to freaking win a trade addicts league. So I'm just making the push, and especially because I somehow traded for Kelsey. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess that means I'm going win now. And I've tried to give Kelsey to you, but you won't pay for him. The one time you won't pay for a freaking tight end in a trade addicts league is when I have him. So I figured this sounded like fun. And this was before he was on the Falcons, so I'm like, maybe he'll get traded. And I really thought the Seahawks were going to be stupid and give their first for Gurley, because that's the kind of thing they do.
Yeah.
And thankfully they didn't.
Yeah. I think I mean, that's a smart move on their part. They already have an electric playmaker at running back. They don't need Todd Gurley.
I want to believe he will be okay and he can be a thing going forward. I do. I really do. I've always liked Chris Carson. He always kind of got hurt in the first place, and he survived for a lot of the season, and that was awesome. But like, clearly, like, hey, Chris Carson, you can choose when to get injured. Do you want to get injured in the middle, or do you want to get injured in the end? Like, just you got to pick, because it's going to happen. And this year he's like, you know what? Let me ride out as long as I can. And clearly, yikes.
Back to back,
back
to back years, 1,150 yards.
Yes, I know. He's very, very good. They are going to waste another pick on a running back.
Yeah, they are. They are. Pete Carroll that's his MO.
It's been months, and I've been saying that they're going to be dumb and take AJ Dillon in the first, because he's 6'4", he's a freaking linebacker running the ball.
Yep.
And I'm saying this as a joke, preparing myself for the worst, but really hoping that doesn't happen. But I know they will buy at least a round or two earlier than anyone else should. Like, they'll take him in the second when he should be going in the third to fifth area.
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't even know if I feel good about that. So Melvin Gordon's on the Broncos. So I'm just going to change the subject because I don't know how else to deal with any of this.
Yeah.
Oh man. So the weird happenings, that was the fact that a tweet comes out in the morning that the Bills and Melvin Gordon have mutual interest and are close on a contract. Mm-hmm. First of all, I had an offer out for Devin Singletary, revoked the hell out of that right away, because I got terrified. We'll talk about it later, because that clearly didn't happen and I got the trade back out there. But this makes me sad for the pure reason that I was all in on Phillip Lindsay being my running back 2 on a couple of teams. I drafted him as my RB2 in Trade Addicts 8. I traded for him in 1 or 2 teams. I was ready for this to happen, because he's at this point where people are over. Let me bring him up first. Remember that time, who's more worth it, Phillip Lindsay or Saquon Barkley?
Yeah.
Like, people have finally given up on that, and like, so that was horribly proven wrong, and I was happily proven wrong, where I thought there was a chance they would just move over him, because it was a new OC. He had literally no draft capital put into him, so like, there's no investment. So I was ready. Plus, I'm a Royce Freeman fan, so I was just ready for that to happen, and it didn't. But now, Phillip Lindsay is a thing, but there's someone much better than Royce Freeman in that backfield now.
Yeah,
and I think I like it.
Yeah, I kind of like it too. I mean, I think he's a good fit there, in terms of the style of running game that they have. he's going to catch a bunch of passes, just like he did in LA and San Diego before that. It definitely. I mean, the one thing it says to me is Royce Freeman is done there. He's not.
Right. Yeah.
He's done. I mean, there's no. I mean, this is the worst news possible for him as far as his career in Denver goes. Philip Lindsay, I mean, I still think he's going to be a thing. He's probably, I mean, they're not going to pay Melvin Gordon the type of money they paid him to come in and not be the lead back. And rightfully so. I mean, Gordon has been awesome in his career. So and they keep Philip Lindsay around. They have a guy that, you know, he doesn't get as much wear and tear if Gordon's there getting a bunch. And he's there if Gordon goes down. I mean, Gordon does have an injury history. You know, he gets banged up. He's had some unfortunate injuries. So if he goes down, the Broncos still have a viable starting caliber running back in Philip Lindsay to be able to, you know, help them through an injury to Melvin Gordon for however long it lasts. And then Gordon comes back in and, you know, so I think that it's going to be similar to Gordon, Eckler, like before last year. I think it's going to be similar to that. I think, I mean, I mean, Melvin Gordon in this offense, I think he's capable of top 8 numbers at the position. I mean, I don't see why not.
Yeah. See, I am completely fine with running backs not being stupid camera the wrong direction, workhorses. I'm fine with the idea that I would rather my running back have a higher percentage of my running back staying healthy as opposed to him being beaten into the ground, which I fully believe the Falcons are going to do to Gurley, and I'm all there for, which is also why I'm buying him. Why else do you get guys on 1-year deals? What worries me about Gordon, that's a lie. Let me start with this. So I'm fine. I don't think he's going to get like 80% of the opportunity from the backfield. It might be like 60-40, 65-35, which I think is more than enough for someone like Gordon to take advantage of. What worried me was when Drew Lock came in, that backfield did not get targets.
Yeah.
And that both of those guys are good at catching the ball. So not only are we in a backfield that doesn't get a lot of targets, we have 2 players that both can be the guy to get those targets.
Yeah, and so, that's a legitimate concern. I mean, I get where you're coming from there, and I do think that is concerning. I also think it's an opportunity to maybe buy Melvin Gordon a little bit low because I think a lot of people are thinking that. And Philip.
No. Hold on.
Yeah.
What are you going to buy Melvin Gordon for?
I mean, I would pay a first easily for him. I mean, I would probably pay him. I would probably pay a mid first.
When he didn't have a team, he was still going for a late first. So I mean, I think first is just sort of the way it has to be.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think about the rookies. Like, would I take him over Dobbins? I don't know. That's close. That's really close to me.
I love me some Dobbins, but yeah, it also we have to acknowledge the lack of landing spot. Wow, Jesse Reeves 110 or later for Melvin Gordon.
Oh,
I mean, you're just not going to get him at that point.
No. Yeah, I'd pay more. That to me, I love Jesse, and he's a bright mind. But that to me is a jaded Chargers fan. Sorry, bro. I love you.
I mean, he's not jaded. He's a realistic Chargers fan. Let's
true.
call that
that's
what
true.
it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Lindsay being there is sort of good for him because, like you said, it's someone that can be a guy. So, Melvin Gordon can get the rest that he needs, and that's important. I wish there was, I need access to the mocks that are going on now. Like, we have March ADP, and Melvin Gordon was running back 18, 2 spots above Todd Gurley, 2 spots below Austin Eckler, 3 spots below J.K. Dobbins. To put that into perspective. So running backs alone, we have the top three ahead of him. So in Superflex, we have the top three running backs. We have the two quarterbacks at least.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't start until 6.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Herbert or Melvin Gordon?
Herbert.
Okay. CD, Lamb,
Probably CD.
Jerry Judy,
That's probably my line.
Cam Akers.
No, not for me. I know. People will go ape shit on that, but not for me.
The Clydesdale.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so we're at the 107, 108 area.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. In my head, I was saying 106 because I feel like to get a guy who at least was at one point a stud and can be again, you have to give up a pick that has the possibility of giving a stud. Like we just listed those 7 players where Judy was the cutoff, and I think for a lot of people that is the top tier.
Mm-hmm.
You have the people that are the Akers of the Edwards Hilaire, but to me that's easily a
unless
tier 2 is the wrong word because I think that's maybe a tier in it, but definitely a lower tier than those top 7. So I think
unless landing spot, right? Unless landing spot makes if one of those guys lands with the Chiefs or something like that, of course, then that's going to bump their value up. But I agree.
All we could do is deal with the information that's
what we have. Yeah, agreed.
All right, so that is enough about Melvin Gordon, I think.
Yeah. Hey, so can we talk about Travis Frederick retiring today?
Yeah, I mean, should have seen it coming, right? He had Guillain-Barré syndrome, I believe it was.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily know exactly what that is, but I know it's some sort of blood disorder.
So and look, I mean, this question has been on my mind anyways, and now with this, and retaining Dak and retaining Cooper, and so what are we thinking about Ezekiel Elliott right now? I mean, are we not worried, or are we like full steam ahead, or are we kind of like,
this doesn't change that much for me. Let me say this: if it was 2 years ago's offense, I would be a lot more concerned. I like what we saw out of Kellen Moore's offense, and it still seems like it's going to be his offense. Faster moving, more spread out, and in that case, you don't need power eye up the middle, to have your center be that good of a blocker. They have a little bit of an issue where it comes to the fact that they're losing a lot of talent on defense, and now their center. Like maybe if they use their first round, do they have a first round pick? Yes,
I think they do.
Last year's was Amari's, right?
Yes.
So they should have their pick this year. I mean, they use that on the center. Are you upset anymore? Not really.
Yeah. Are you worried at all about Tony Pollard? If they're so the defense is worse, if they get behind and they're throwing the ball a ton, do you think Tony Pollard gets more looks in the offense if that's the case?
No, I meant it when I said it about Melvin Gordon. I'm fine with my running back not getting 80 touches a game. It doesn't need to happen. Now, I know Zeke is the kind of runner like Derrick Henry and Marshawn Lynch, where he needs to build up. He needs to run the ball like 20-ish times into the third quarter so he can start then running the hell over people. But I'm fine, especially because they don't do the same thing. I mean, Tony Pollard's quicker. He's more of an outside guy and more of a receiver. I mean, Zeke is good at catching the ball, but Pollard is a receiver out of the backfield. So I'm fine with them splitting a little bit. I'm fine with Pollard getting 10, 12 touches a game. I mean, that doesn't scare me at all. And, he should. They did well with Pollard in the backfield. So better offense means better fantasy assets anyway. And plus, if Pollard does decent, that's just another asset for your team in general. I know we're talking about Zeke, specifically. But yeah, Bobby Koch in the chat brings up, feels like if you have Zeke, this is the last time to sell for peak value. I think his peak value is gone. Like, I mean, I don't think he ever hit like 101. I don't think he ever broke 104-ish. But I don't think he's that anymore. That's the problem. I think if you were, I don't think it's going to go back up. Let me easily say it like that. I think Zeke's value is what it is. I don't know how it would get higher than it is right now, especially with the people that are in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
So am I worried? I mean, for value, a little bit. For Zeke the player, nah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that's a tough one. I mean, he is a player that you're right. He never really sniffed the 101 in startups. And really, I mean, he probably should have from a talent perspective. I think the off the field stuff was the reason he never was up in that conversation, was because, you had other players like Barkley, or Kamara was up there, and those types of players that didn't have the off the field stuff, and I think that definitely played a part in that. And it feels like Zeke's been in the league a really long time too. I know he's not that old, but it just feels like he's been around for a long time. So yeah, I think I probably agree with Bobby that this is, if the window hasn't passed yet, as you were saying, Russ, then I think, yeah, now is possibly. I mean, we'll see. But yeah. I would probably, yeah, and I think Skip in the chat is saying Zeke has two more, or he'll be 25 in July, so he's not old. He's just been around forever. So if we can get another, half a season out of him where he's producing at that high level, and then maybe you sell him for peak value there.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a hair more than it is right now. But we're getting close, I think, to that point.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also just one of the reasons I don't like running backs, because like we have in Trade Addict 7, we have 4 people that can be considered bell cows.
Mm-hmm.
We have Dalvin, Saquon, Chris Carson, Leonard Fournette.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we heard me about Chris Carson before, but technically, as of right now, he kind of is a bell cow because they don't have another running back worthwhile. Sorry, Rashad Penny people, which I was going into last year. We can't sell them for the life of us.
No.
I've talked to a few people about it, and it just never goes anywhere. And if you're in any league with Eitan Mosia, he tries like hell to sell his running backs in the offseason. Non-point score season, I apologize. And honestly, that's the right thing to do. That's what you should be doing, because A, man, they just always get hurt. B, they're the easiest situation to get disrupted. And just wide receivers are prettier. Maybe. Actually, no, that's a lie. I'll say physically too, just because I can't think of any overly attractive running backs at the moment.
Saquon Barkley.
And Christian McCaffrey. That dude's just like the Hulk. So I take that back.
That's
I apologize.
true too. Yeah, those pipes in the preseason last year, he was jacked up.
Yeah. So Beryl Joffrey, Eitan tries to sell Leonard Fournette like I try to sell my kids right now. Man, I don't blame him, man. This quarantine and the kids, man. No one's buying my kids. Let me just put that out that way. They're adorable, but they are a train wreck. So, man, where did we even start with this? Oh yeah, we were talking about Zeke. Okay, so yeah, I tried to sell Leonard Fournette for Debo and the 205 in Trade Addict 7. And when I brought this idea to Brian that I was going to offer this just because I was bored, and clearly we co-own the team. That's why I was bringing it up to him. And Brian was just like, yeah, but don't negotiate from there. That's the price. That's the value. And like Bobby didn't even think about it. He's just like, no. We tried to do something with Dalvin Cook and DJ Moore, and it was the non-point scoring season. I mean, Bobby said he values DJ Moore more than Dalvin Cook, and can't hate on anybody for having their kind of opinion. And then, yes, I literally just told Bobby, just stop looking and just accept my trades, because sometimes that's how you have to get trades done. Yo, someone finally popped on. Everybody, right. One of our newest patrons. You need to like move your. There you go.
Sorry.
Hey, Jason, how's it going, man? Everybody, Jason Real.
Sorry, I'm in the barracks, so my setup is a little
God,
I
that
mean,
hat. Yes,
if anything,
sir.
I'm just.
Yes, sir.
We have way too many Steeler fans in our Patreon. I'm more offended by the Superman shirt, to be honest.
What? Superman
Rip
is
that
awesome.
off and get a Batman one going on. I think you got nice and clear. Okay, so Jason,
Did it clear up? It's still blurry on my end.
Looks good here.
You look good.
Okay.
That's what
Okay.
matters. So tell people a little about yourself. You know, what's your Twitter handle? Are you on Twitter? I don't even remember anymore. You know, you're clearly a Steelers fan. Just start talking for a little bit.
I actually made a new Twitter because I got myself a podcast kit and I'm gonna try to do that. So
Sweet. Shotgun first guest.
hold on. I don't remember what my new Twitter handle is. Sorry.
Wow, that new, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, like I made it like 3 days ago. Oh, real fantasy for real people.
Nice. Love it.
Yeah. Been playing fantasy football for don't even remember now. It's been a few years. I'm in 15 leagues. All of them are dynasty except for one keeper league that I run with my friends. And I'm in about every format you can think of.
Oh, that's annoying. Okay, so you don't remember how long you've been playing fantasy, but how long have you been playing Dynasty? You've been in it for a while?
Dynasty I've been doing for 5 years.
Nice. I mean, it really, like that 2014, 15 area, I think, like, I don't know what happened, but there was like a boom there. I'm guessing it was like Odell Beckham. Like, I really think that's probably just what it was. Yeah. Everyone's just like, I could have that guy forever. Like, I need, like, I convinced someone to turn a league into a keeper league because I drafted Odell Beckham. I mean, and I won that next year.
Yeah. I got invited to a salary cap contract league.
Oof.
And that is what got me started.
That got you started, man. Seriously, there's so many people that was their first go. Like, man, I think it was my second. You know, I was playing fantasy for 10-ish years. I jumped into Dynasty for a year, and then I went nuts, which is what people seem to do. And that's when I did my first contract salary.
I mean,
I did not do well.
I have notebooks and everything, so.
Look at this guy.
Wow, he has actual composition notebooks.
I love it. Wow. I love it. That's what you got to do sometimes in those leagues, man. It gets wild.
Oh yeah, to keep track of all my contracts and how much money I'm.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, I keep trying I was out of the contract salary thing for about 2 years. Then I became friends with John Bosch, which is like the biggest non-mistake of my life because John Bosch is an awesome guy, but he creates leagues that are way too complex that I have a hard time saying no to. So I joined a salary contract league where I'm like, sure, let me go try and win. I drafted a pretty good team. I think I did pretty well. I'm terrible at auctions, which is really bad for salary and contract leagues. And then I lost. And then I'm just like, oh, shit. All right. Oh, second chance dispersal? Yeah, let me do that.
Yeah, I actually joined a contract league with Skip and Hogue on MFL.
Oh, nice. I mean, at least you're in with good people. I mean, like I said, I joined with John Hogue. That was probably mine. No, with John Bosch. That was probably my mistake.
Oh, he's in that one too.
All right, man.
Yeah, that's getting into it. I'll full disclosure, and I'm people will probably make fun of me about it, but that's okay. So I jumped into Kitchen Sink 1 last non-point scoring season.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's way too much shit for me, man. I can't. I mean, I was, and I know it's not that intense either. I mean, it is intense, but it's not.
There's contracts and no salaries. It's the only reason I don't freak the hell out.
It was too much for me, and maybe it was just the point in time when I jumped in. But it was just too. That was a 1 year, and I apologize, but I can't do it. So,
okay, no. So I'm going to use this to transition into something. Yeah. I forgot who it was. Jason, it may have even been you. Someone in the Cool Kids Club said that they've never left a league. Leave leagues.
No, I remember
that. Leave leagues. It's fine. It's really okay. commissioners most of the time won't even be upset about it. They're more likely to be happy that they can find someone who wants to be there. So like, don't feel bad about leaving leagues. We've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Yeah, here's Barrels in the chat saying he's never left a league. I left 4 this year. I mean, sometimes you just overdo it, like I have many times, and it's just for the best. Leagues would rather have active owners than you being there and being shitty. I think that's really what it comes down to. So, like, I forgot what it was. The transparency effect, I think it was called, where whenever you're anxious about something, you think it's so obvious that everyone else thinks you're anxious, and everyone else's reaction is magnified. People don't really care. I mean, like, you leave, someone's gonna be like, "Oh, dude, you're leaving? That sucks. Oh, can my friend Steve join?" Like, yeah, people might be upset that you're leaving, but it's not the biggest deal. Chances are you're in 3 other leagues with half those people anyway.
Russ, I think you could pull that effect on me like twice a week.
And
in related stuff.
At this point, we're at the point in life where Brian just messages me, "I'm sorry." We're like, "What? We haven't talked in 3 days." He's like, "I know, but I'm sure there was something. I was thinking something one day. I had this dream where I said something that, like, you only looked good, you didn't look great, and I woke up feeling bad about it."
Yeah, I'm that's a great point though, Russ. And I think so. I'm a mental health counselor too, so I deal with anxiety every day. Have it myself sometimes, and,
I was about to say, I
certainly,
have anxiety, so I deal with it every day.
Certainly with my clients as well. But don't. I mean, this is fun. This is a fun activity. If you're not having fun, get out. It's not, and I don't mean get out like you're a bad person, get out. I mean, get out for yourself, because you play this. Yeah, it's supposed to be fun. Exactly. And if you can win some cash on the side, great. Or a trophy or a ring or a banner or whatever the hell you want to win. But you got to do what's best for yourself. Like, I'm not saying be selfish and join 17 leagues and then leave 16 of them because, I'm not saying do it on purpose, but when you got to do what's best for yourself. If you're in too many leagues and you're overwhelmed and you can't keep up, or you're just not having fun in a league, just tell the commissioner, hey, look, I got to go.
Speaking of,
we got another superhero.
I was going to say, speaking of the opposite of I got to go. Hey, Bobby.
Hey. Also, there's a Spider-Man poster right over there. And
shocking.
Wait.
So you're wearing a Spider-Man shirt.
I am wearing a Spider-Man shirt, but there's also more superhero stuff. I just hopped on really quick just to congratulate you guys. It's really awesome that you got to 100 episodes. You're obviously one of my favorite podcasts, and I had to do this given the opportunity, and also knowing that these could be my last words. So congrats, guys. And that's it. I'm hopping back off. See you later.
Bye, Bobby.
Stay safe, Bobby. Okay.
It's really tough for Bobby to stay safe, man.
I know.
He lives in the city and people in his building. So yeah, he's. Oof.
So Jason,
from Virginia to North Carolina, there were so many New York people driving around. It was crazy. Like they were all leaving.
Trying to get out. So Jason, where you said I thought I heard you say barracks.
Yeah.
So whereabouts are you? Is that military or police or?
Yeah, no, military. I was deployed to Virginia, and we're on our way back home from the deployment. So.
Okay, nice. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate your service for sure.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, anything you want to talk about, or should we jump into another trade Addicts trade to let you try and evaluate?
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Haskins? Because I just got him in a trade for Goff. I got Haskins, Boykin, and Penny Snell for Goff.
I mean, that's not the greatest trade, but okay. So here's my question: the Redskins traded for Kyle Allen. That's a good thing for Haskins, right?
Yes.
Because Kyle Allen's bad, like bad.
Yeah.
Why trade for? The only reason I could think to trade for him, which made me laugh the second I thought of it, is so they could then get Cam Newton and have Kyle Allen be Cam Newton's backup
Ugh.
again, which would be like that's not good GMing, but it's the Redskins. But like to me, like I was sitting and trying to think about it after reading that. Like I think that's a good thing for Haskins because I don't want him to get Rosened or anything like that. Like I want Haskins to get a shot, mostly because I have shares of him. That's really about it, and because I will die on the narrative of the college connection. Like I'm still holding out for Andrew Luck to Kobe Fleener, though neither of them are in the league anymore.
Nice. Yeah.
So Haskins to McLaurin, I think, can be a thing. I want it to be a thing. I want them to get a tight end and let that be a thing. So yeah,
I was just trying to get shots at running back and wide receiver because it's a league I just took over Orphan and they got nothing.
yeah, it's rough.
I don't hate Boykin. I don't hate Boykin. I think
It depends what they do in the draft. Like I like
Yeah.
the player, but if they draft another wide receiver, it's going to be tough because they have the 6. Oh no, they only have 5 tight ends now because they got rid of
Hurst, right?
So yeah, I do like Boykin. I think if anything, he could be a nice wide receiver 4 on your team that you could always have the chance of catching a touchdown. And let's face it, Snell might get you fantasy points if they don't draft a running back with their not full draft picks. That was not the right words. They're not full pocket of man. They don't have.
They only have
everything.
5 picks. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I could not figure out how to phrase that correctly.
And only one in the top 100. So
yeah, so that's not good, and it'd be weird to use that on a running back. So I mean, there's a chance that they go in with Connor, Snell, and Samuel, and I think we've seen there's a chance that Connor's going to get hurt again. I have a decent amount of Snell shares, and I'm okay with them. So
yeah, that's what I thought. I thought like if Connor didn't produce or got hurt, that they might let Snell take over that job.
Yeah, I think so too. And shout out to J Mike Snell. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's also a very good stash. Is this a 1 QB or super flex league?
Yeah, it's a 1 QB, and my other QB is Daniel Jones.
Okay,
I like it a lot. I like it a lot better.
Yeah, I was about to say.
One
QB. Should have asked that first. So yeah, then in that case, it doesn't really matter because honestly, I would rather play Daniel Jones in a 1 QB because he has a ceiling, but they have similar floors anyway. So I mean, that's pretty much just the point, right? Whew. Wow, I just talked a lot and fast.
Hey,
Okay,
John,
so
I was just talking about our league.
Ooh. Okay, so I can erase Kyle Allen to the Redskins because I wanted to talk about that already. Okay, so let's do, since we already just talked about that, you asked about Haskins. We talked quickly when we were talking about Melvin Gordon about the fact that he might be a Bill for like 30 seconds. And I pulled a trade offer that I had for Devin Singletary. And then he went to the Broncos and I messaged the dude and I'm like, okay, yeah. So I panicked when I saw that. Do you like that offer? I'll send it back again. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. We could do that. So what I did was I traded in Trade Addicts 2, Jarvis Landry and the 208 for Devin Singletary and the 203. So a swap of Landry and Singletary, and I moved up 5 spots from the 208 to the 203. What do you think, Jason?
I mean, I like Singletary. I think he's going to be good there in Buffalo. Yeah, and I'm not big on Jarvis, so I think Singletary is the better part of that deal.
Nice. So I got him to pay up for the worst part of the deal. What do you think, Brian?
So which side had the earlier first?
Second, Devin Singletary and the 203 for Landry and the 208.
Yeah, I like that. I like that for the Singletary side too.
Plus, you got the higher side of the pick.
I mean, I'll go back to what I was saying before with Melvin Gordon and with Zeke and all of that. The Singletary isn't going to be a workhorse. They didn't want him to be last year. They were traipsing out the beautiful corpse of Frank Gore. Because let's face it, the dude's a corpse, but he's not decrepit by any means because he will outlive us all. And they almost brought in Melvin Gordon, which means the chances are they're going to spend decent draft capital. Yes, that's the right word, on a running back. And honestly, that's kind of fine because I have enough faith in Singletary being good at everything that he won't get driven off the field. So he'll get at least 50% of the touches. And when Josh Allen's your quarterback, who the hell knows what can happen with 50% of their offensive snaps? So and to me, Jarvis Landry just lost his ceiling completely with Austin Hooper showing up. I'm still waiting for Odell or Landry to be moved.
I think it could happen. I do. I mean, I don't know when, and I don't know for what, but I think it's like it's. I don't know. I would love for Beckham to get the hell out of there. To be honest, I mean, I just don't. I don't like him there at all. I know it should work, but I don't. I just don't like it.
You don't think Mayfield turns it around and Odell goes back to like a top 5?
I don't know. If they can protect him, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, what else do they get? Wow, that was a mush of words. I think they realize in the draft they're going to be spending on offensive line, which is why it was smart to go out and trade for Hooper. Get an established guy in the offense so he can get the ball out quick, get young guys on the line. So I'm completely fine with that. And Odell is fast, can get down the field fast, and he's a very good route runner, so he can create separation. Landry is just great in the middle of the field. And then you have Hooper, who's kind of in the middle of the two of them. So I think and then, the backfield of Hunt and Chubb, there's so many weapons that you have to, if Baker doesn't do better, it's Baker. And it's Baker's problem, it's Baker's fault, and Baker needs to go away. I mean, that's just kind of the truth, which would make me super sad because I really do like Baker. But I'm at the point where it's one of those, there's so many weapons, the only person that could really be elevated is the guy throwing the ball.
Yeah, I'm proud of you for saying that. I know that took a lot.
I don't... I can say it as a possibility because it's still so far away. I don't have to face it that it might be a reality. That's really what it is. Man, if 2 games, I know 2 games isn't even a lot to give him a shot, but if 2 games goes by and he still looks like crap, I'm going to get sad fast. Really fast.
Yeah, I definitely need him to rebound for a couple of my shares too.
I don't have any Baker Mayfield shares, so...
Oh, I
tried to buy them, but everybody's still on the hype, apparently.
Yeah, wow. Was there... words, man. I wonder how much getting Austin Hooper changed Baker Mayfield's value, or at least not even his value, just the outlook on what his value could be. Because nothing changed before Hooper. No one left. No one came. It was their offense was the same, except they got a real coach.
Did they do the Hooper before the offensive line pickups that they made?
Yeah, they got. I'm trying. The hoop. So yeah, that's what I was going to ask too. The timing of that.
I do.
Hooper
was the first.
I know
one.
they picked up some offensive line guys.
He was like one of the first free agents, period, to sign. So on Monday.
So, speaking of Monday and that wonderful, wonderful Texans news, I did the first post-draft trade in Trade Addicts 8. It was sent to me, and I just sort of all right, whatever. I traded my 2022 first for David Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of trading a 2022 first for David Johnson?
I think it's fine. I mean,
remember this time last year when I traded my 2021 first for Jerick McKinnon to you and Trade Addicts 3?
I do. Thank you, by the way.
I hope this turns out better.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing, David.
We've seen David Johnson do it, or we never saw Jerick McKinnon do it.
Yeah. And look, I'm concerned about the running game. Obviously, with David Johnson, he looked awful running the football last year. But he's still caught the ball. I mean, that's kind of like my hope for this is that maybe they use him creatively somehow. I don't know. It's just such a terrible trade in the real NFL. That it's just tough. But I don't. I mean, you and I always say. I mean, 2 years out, you got a lot of time to get that back if you need to. I mean, you can.
Yeah, exactly. That's really what it comes down to. It's just like I want a share of. I like having shares of people just in case. Is really what it comes down to.
Right.
And like you said, it's a 2 years, 2 years out, first round draft pick. So whatever. It's
I mean,
fine.
they're gonna have to use him to catch the ball. They ain't got nobody else to throw to.
Right? Like
Yeah,
we're
that's
looking, we're going super West Coast offense. That's the only thing I could think of. Two guys in the back. They'll take turns with the D Johnsons in the backfield. One will be in the backfield. One will be in the slot. Will Fuller runs in a straight line. Everyone else just runs a slant, and that's going to be every single offensive play. Except they'll run it like once every 6 times because neither of them are that great of runners. So I'm not necessarily sure what's going to go on. But yeah, Zach Reed in the chat brings up a good point. Vacated targets, there's going to be a lot of them. So I feel like I'm going to just keep talking about vacated targets until Peter gets a little upset. Y'all, he already typed table flip in the chat, so I screwed that up.
Just tell him how bad Penny is too.
You know who's terrible? N'Keal Harry. He is just never going to be a thing. And Adam Thielen and all these other people that I love you, Peter.
Well, apparently, there's still people that are believing Harry because I tried to get him in a trade and no dice.
See, it's really funny because I think Brady leaving is a good thing for N'Keal Harry. We didn't even really talk about Brady leaving on this show because I feel like it's just been beaten to death on every other show just because it happened the day after we recorded last week. Why would we go out on who was the 101 to some people in a draft? Like I still have Corey Davis on teams. I don't expect him to be the 101 anymore, but like he might now have a guy who's willing to just throw the ball. It's not one of those you dropped one pass, I'm not going to throw to you for the next 6 months, and you'll get the Foxborough flu and be on the IR for no reason. Like I think Brady being gone is really, really, really good for Harry. He's been in the league for a year. He has that experience. We believe in the second-year breakout. And maybe he won't break out because there'll be a quarterback in the first year of their playing system. But still, like this is, I think, his time. I think now is a very strong buying period. If Brady were still there, I'd be worried about Harry. I'm less worried now without Brady there.
Yeah, I don't know if you can't get on the field when there's nobody there to compete with and you got Tom Brady throwing to you, how are you going to do better with somebody worse?
Because you'll have someone you'll have someone not as smart as Tom Brady who will be able to read things that the same as Julian Edelman can. So he won't be throwing Julian Edelman the ball 600 times a season. Like, I think what's going to happen is other quarterbacks are going to get flustered and be like, oh, crap, let me throw, everyone's covered. Let me just chuck it to the guy who's good at 50-50 balls. So I think it's actually better for N'Keal Harry to have not as smart of a quarterback. It feels so weird to say that stuff. But I mean, I honestly, I think it's the truth. I think it's really good for Harry. And wait, so you were trying to buy him. What were you offering for him?
Goff.
Yeah, that's tough because is it 12 teams?
12 team, 1 QB.
Yeah,
I mean
that's a little tough.
Quarterback was Haskins, so.
Yeah, so I mean that's a little tough. So I think value-wise, there's nothing wrong with that. So, but yeah, I mean that's very situational. But the value of a quarterback that should be a starting quarterback is what, mid-second ish for Jared Goff in a 1 QB. Kind of seems right for Harry right about now. What do you think, Josh, at Real Fantasy TL?
I just got in, so I didn't hear the last couple of sentences you said.
No, I was just going to, trying to make it smooth transition to you. We're talking about N'Keal Harry and his value right now.
I'm not a huge fan of Harry, but it seems like based on all of the trades I've been making lately, he's still getting a lot of love in the community. So I don't think a 2022nd or even a 2021 second is going to get him right now from what I've seen.
Yeah, I can't imagine giving up a first for him at this point. But if I can get, there's a somewhat of a teardrop around that 205-ish area, I think it is this year, without actually going through it in my head. So if I can get Harry for the 205, 206, I think I'm all about that. I see Brian giving me a very emphatic nodding of yes. What would you pay for Harry right now, Brian?
I would pay a very early second. I would even pay a late. I would even pay a late first.
You would pay a first. Okay, wait, hold on. Okay, wait, keep talking.
I mean, we're talking about the 101 a year ago, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, even in a really, really strong class, you know. Now, I mean, it's hard. Like, I'd rather have him than Henry Ruggs.
I was about to. Okay, hold on. I pulled up ADP, rookie 80, Superflex rookie ADP. So let's start with Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs is 14. Okay, no, wow. Okay, so let's go a little lower. Denzel Mims or N'Keal Harry?
Harry all day, and I like Mims.
You guys.
Harry.
Yeah, I like Harry.
Okay. LaVisca Chenault or N'Keal Harry?
Harry.
I think so too.
I'm worried about the injuries on Chenault. I would stick with Harry.
Yeah, I'm not a Chenault fan, to be honest. Okay, here's where it starts to get real. Justin Jefferson or N'Keal Harry?
Jefferson.
Yeah, I would take Jefferson there.
Okay, so let's move. You said Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs is at 14.
Yep.
So you said Harry over Ruggs, but I think that's a Ruggs thing as a player, kind of more than value wise. But we're gonna skip over him because ew. T. Higgins or N'Keal Harry?
Harry.
Shut up.
Higgins.
I would take Higgins.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
But it's
but kicked off. Josh.
But that's probably close. I mean, I want Higgins because I love T. Higgins, but I mean that's probably close.
Okay, so man, Jordan Love at the 112. That's weird.
It's a quarterback in Superflex.
Yeah.
And all the rumor is that he's going to be drafted in the top 10. So
Yeah, I guess. Okay. If he does get drafted in the top 10, then yes, that is absolutely deserving. That's kind of crazy. I wouldn't have expected that in March EDP. But Jalen Reagor or N'Keal Harry?
I know the answer is supposed to be Jalen Reagor. And I know that Jesse Reeves is probably going to kick my ass for this. I think I'd rather have Harry. But it's close. I mean, it's real close.
I think Harry's the right answer, though, to be honest with you.
I think I would take Harry, but I haven't seen enough of Reagor to make it.
Reagor, I think right now Harry is the correct answer, just because I think Reagor is going to be super landing spot dependent. Like if he lands on the Jets, he's screwed because Adam Gase isn't going to know how to use someone like him. But if he lands somewhere good, somewhere with a good offensive mind that knows what to do and knows how to give him touches, then I think it's going to be Reagor. And then after that, we hit Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Cam Akers, Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb. I think all of those guys easily over Harry at this point, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
So we are talking a floor of 111, ceiling of 111. The earliest pick we would give is the 111. Whew. Oh, man. Hold on. Hey, Jerry.
Hello.
Holy crap. Look at this guy.
First of all, comes off rocking the Patriots cap. But first of
Of
all,
course he does.
at Jerry Shea
How y'all
FF,
doing?
but more well known as at Trade Addicts Pod, the man who's been running our Twitter account wonderfully lately.
Yes.
So thank you, Jerry.
Yeah, for about the last month, so I've enjoyed that.
Yeah, I've enjoyed you doing it too because I don't have to. So, man, say a little bit something about yourself and introduce yourself to everyone because you've never been on the show before.
So Jory O'Shea is my name. I'm from Ireland. Started fantasy probably 4 or 5 years ago. Started with Dynasty in about 12 leagues at the moment, I'd say.
Nice.
And yeah, that's about it.
Including Trade Addicts
2.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I'm the fella. I'm the fella that had the 620 21st for so long.
Ah.
And would not give them to me.
No. Yeah.
Okay, wait, no, this is perfect. We're talking about N'Keal Harry, and you show up.
Patriots fan. Yes, perfect.
What would you pay for N'Keal
Yeah.
Harry right now?
Probably an early second. That's it.
All right. I mean, so that seems to be a little bit of consensus. So that's good. That makes me happy. So we've learned something here today. Okay.
Keeping the main thing. We always got to keep learning, right?
I guess. Sometimes it's okay to just be happy with who you are.
True.
Okay, so we have one person actually gave us a listener question. So they wanted us to talk about their trade. At Stanley Fatmax, just traded the 106 and 206 for Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson. Trade Calc says I lost the trade by a few points. I personally don't think I lost. What say you? 10-team PPR. His starting running backs are now Kamara and Eckler.
Read it again.
106 and 206 for Eckler and Justin Jackson. 10-team PPR. He didn't say super flex. I'm going to guess it's one quarterback. Man, this is easy. Eckler, right?
It's not easy in Superflex.
But I don't think it is. He didn't say it was.
Yeah, if it's one QB, I think. What are we?
Eckler's like in Superflex. Eckler, are you giving Eckler up for anything less than like the 103 in Superflex? 104?
I'm not giving that up to get him.
Yeah.
But you're not going to sell him for anything less, are you?
Oh, probably not.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those times where it's like where we say that, like you're not going to pay that, but you're not giving him up for less than that. I mean, I'm. Go ahead.
I just think you got to see what happens this year with Gordon gone and how they're going to use him, and like, is he going to be the guy, or is he just going to still be a better version of Chris Thompson?
Okay, so I just pulled up the Dynasty Trade Analyzer from DLF. Hashtag brand, hashtag company man. Austin Eckler is worth in between the 104 and 105. And he paid 106 and 206. I mean, that's less than that. And he also got Justin Jackson, who's probably going to get the other half of that backfield. I'm all about the player side in this. Like, that is pure rookie fever.
Jackson got the other half because I sold Hunt for Jackson in Washington 2 years ago.
There you go.
After the incident, yeah.
All right, Jerry, you don't just jump on from Ireland and not talk. So,
sorry. Yeah, if it's one QB, I'm definitely going with the Eckler side. If it's super flex, 50-50. I don't know. Are they going to draft someone in the draft? Maybe. Does that stop any value for Justin Jackson?
I mean, yeah, if they do draft someone, like, man, if they draft anyone at any point, I think it's tough on Jackson because I think he was a pretty late draft pick anyway. And while he's shown that he's good, okay-ish, I mean, he's pretty easily replaced, I think. But, I mean, again, all we could do is go on what we know right now. And right now, I think he's the other half of that backfield because I feel like they have other problems. I mean, I think running with Eckler and Justin Jackson, right? That's his name? Justin, yeah, words.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's good enough that I think that they should fill other holes.
So here's the only issue I have with it. So say you're in a draft and Cam Akers and Jerry Jeudy go in the top 5. Okay, so you have the 3 running backs, Taylor Swift, Dobbins, and then Akers and Jeudy end up going because of whatever reason. So CD Lamb is at 6. I would punch my own face off if I traded Austin Eckler. If I traded away CD Lamb for Austin Eckler. I mean, if that's the case, you're talking about potentially if Lamb fell, and he shouldn't fall, and in most drafts he's probably
happens,
not going to fall, but it happens, right? So if it's CD Lamb and Zach Moss, or CD Lamb and I don't know, AJ Dillon, or something like that. I mean, I would rather have that side than Eckler and Justin Jackson. Unfortunately,
yeah, if you're that one piece away, like if you're doing this team, you're a contender. If your running backs are Kamara and Eckler now, I mean, assuming you have good wide receivers, that's the right word. Like that's, I mean, that's an all-in move. I mean, it's riding with the production, as opposed to hoping CD Lamb goes to a right place, gets drafted highly, gets play and plays well right away.
Yeah, so the only thing I would say about that, Russ, is I think that, like, for me, this is one of those trades that I would rather. You're right from the standpoint of if you're that one piece away. The problem I have is I don't know that Austin Eckler is that piece. So if I can turn him into CD Lamb and then move CD Lamb for a guy that I believe is that piece,
you see what I'm saying? About the ability that Austin Eckler could be an RB1 again.
I was. You're right. You're right.
Take it back.
I'm not taking anything back, but
all right.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
Someone else talk about something. Who wants to talk? What do you want to talk about, Josh?
On the spot.
I know. Well, as you know, Russ, I decided to partake in your Twitter trade challenge.
Yes.
Which in honor of the 100th episode, and boy, there have been some trades that have been tough to hit accept on.
Yeah. All right, so hold on. Let's walk this through, just in case anyone doesn't know what we're talking about. I don't even remember when it was. I was just super bored one day, and I put out on Twitter that anyone in my league, and all of my leagues, can offer me a trade. I will put that trade up as a Twitter poll. And if your side, the side that you are offering, wins the poll, I'll accept the trade. And it went pretty well for me. Man, I think I literally got over 100 offers. I think I got about 7 trades that went through, and only one of them that made me cry.
So yeah, I haven't had your batting average on trades that have made me cry. So one of them was in Trades HQ 1, where I gave up Stafford and Gallup and got Trubisky and Devontae Adams, and that's a 16-team superflex.
Yeah, that comes into play a lot, and I think you might have gotten screwed that a lot of people don't read Twitter polls, because on the surface that is easily the Adams side, but 16-team superflex quarterbacks are so valuable, and honestly, studs aren't super valuable. Like, this is a 16-team league where you start at least 11. I think it might be more. So you need depth. Like, Stompy offered me a 3-for-1, and I even just didn't even really look at it, and I'm just like, Chris Godwin's awesome, but nothing's going to make me give up 3 starters right now.
Yeah. So now currently, if the season were to start today, my 2 starting QBs would be Tom Brady and Mitch Trubisky.
So you have 1 starting quarterback.
Yeah, pretty much. Another 14-team superflex, I lost Ryan Tannehill to a package of Devin Singletary, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and a 2021 second.
It's good value, though.
Yeah, I don't hate that one as bad.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Singletary, so I think that's what made it a tougher pill to swallow. I did get the 112 in a 14 team superflex for the 204 and the 210, which
That's really good.
yeah, I
that's
don't know
really good.
why that guy offered me that, but I actually, it's funny, I hit reject trade because I had just assumed that the 112 was mine. And he's like, "Hey man, I won this." And I was like, "Wait, what?" And I looked and I was like, "Oh, you were giving me your 112. Oh, that's cool. I'll take that then." So yeah, so now I'm rocking the 110 and the 112 in that one. Those are the three I can remember offhand. Actually, Jerry here might get Zeke off of me in one of these polls. So I'm not sure where we're at yet, but he was winning that one.
Let's hear it.
Well,
Let's hear it.
I think I'd be giving up the 104 and Zeke for Derrick Henry. What was the other part of that, Jerry? Do you remember?
No.
I can look it up real quick.
I sent you about 5 trades. I can't remember.
You did.
Which it was.
I liked your persistence because every time you were like, "Oh, I'm not going to win this one. I'm just going to send you another one." I was like, "Cool, keep them coming."
Yeah. The Derek, I did send you Derrick Henry and the 211 for the 104 and the 204.
That's right. That's what it was.
Yeah, that was about 50-50, I think, the last time I checked.
Crap.
That's another one I hope I can skate by.
And it's on value for Derrick Henry. I mean, don't we feel good about Derrick Henry right now? Because I mean, let's face it, a running back like him, you're year to year on him anyway, and he got a 1-year contract. They're going to run him into the ground, so we should like Derrick Henry, right?
My team's pretty rough in that league, so I mean,
nuts.
1 year of Derrick Henry might be nice, but losing that 104 would hurt.
Yeah, that sucks.
I almost lost Josh Allen to Odell Beckham in a 14-team superflex.
Again, in a regular league, that 12-team, that's probably fine, but
yeah,
man, anything other than that, we had one that was close. You said it was 51-49. It was
yeah, that
CDA
was
too, right?
Yeah, that was Eckler. God, what did you offer me?
It was Eckler for the 104.
206.
Like, was it really that simple? Like,
I think yours was Eckler and 206 for the 104. Oh, gosh, I can't remember what the other part of that was.
yeah. So this team, it's the Cartoon Do-Gooders Alliance 2. It's pretty much Trade Addicts rules, but it's best ball. Mm-hmm. You know, it's still head to head every single week. And I drafted this team. I made trades as I was going to tank year one, but came in 4th place somehow. I'm not even necessarily sure how I did that. So I don't really know what to do with my team. But I have Austin Eckler. So I figured I'm just going to keep trying to buy picks. It was, here we go. Austin Eckler and the 209 for Jordan Howard, Sterling Shepard, and the 104.
Yes.
What do you think about that one, Jerry?
I think I'll go with the 104 side.
Clearly, so with 51% of Twitter. I can't believe it came that close. It's really funny because you've done this, and there was at least 1 or 2 other people that I know have done it that I was in leagues with. Just like the Hooper trade I sent you in HQ1, for some reason, I end up like 97-3 every single time. Like, I misread the situation so bad. So the fact that this one came close, I'm even just happy about it.
Well, it's funny. You sent me that one, and I was like, if people don't like Blake Jarwin, you're definitely winning that. But if people are on some kind of Blake Jarwin high, I've definitely got this. And I didn't know which way the Twitterverse was going to go on that. So when it started getting run up, I was like, oh, people like Blake Jarwin. This is cool. All right.
I was trying to be sneaky because in a 16-team league, I don't care about tight ends because, especially like Hooper, we don't know. Like we hope he's going to still be good in this new environment. So I'm not going to depend on him being good in that environment. In which case, I might as well try and downgrade Jarwin. I mean, man, why did the Raiders sign Jason Witten? Can we just? It's a rhetorical question at this point because who the hell knows and who the hell really cares? But Blake Jarwin's the guy right now. I doubt they waste a draft pick on a tight end because they have like 4 of them, and Jarwin did well enough when he had the opportunity. I was really hoping to be sneaky about that one, but I think I asked for. There were picks involved, and I think I went for too many. I think that's really what it was.
You wanted my 110 and a 2021 first.
And then Blake Jarwin for Hooper. I should have added to Hooper. I should have added to Hooper. I knew it right away, but
Well, in another league that I'm in, actually, it's the Superflex Super Show Vampire League. It looks like I'll be getting Michael Gallup and Tevin Coleman for Austin Hooper.
Can we even trade in that league right now?
No, I'm telling people to send them to me on DM, and if they win, I'll honor it and trade with them as soon as we can open that up.
Yeah, Hogue, if you're still in the chat, open that stuff up, man. We need to make our team not terrible because our Vampire Leagues, at least the way the Superflex Vampire League worked, was after the Vampires don't take place in the draft, and after I think it was 12 quarterbacks were drafted, the draft stopped, and the Vampires got to pick a quarterback.
We picked the best quarterback ever.
Ryan and I picked Mitchell Trubisky. Bleh. So we lost the starting quarterback this year. And we got to steal Aaron Jones and Evan Engram last year. And I'm all about trying to move those guys for a quarterback. We do have Teddy Bridgewater, so that worked out well for us.
Yes.
Because at least it's a starting quarterback. That's really all a body is what matters at quarterback at this point. And then we just have to hope to grab a couple of guys that, you know, blow up a little bit in 1 week so we could win. If you are in the Superflex Super Show Vampire League and have not paid, once this podcast is over with, pick up your phone and pay because I want to make some trades.
Well,
I've always wanted to get into one of those leagues.
Super Show division is trading, by the way. Hogue getting all sassy in the chat.
Oh,
well, the Trade Addicts division is not trading yet, so get these addicts going and let's go. Let's
all right, so whoever hasn't paid, kick him out and put Jason in.
Yes.
I've known him for about 30 minutes. I vouch for him.
He's wearing a Steelers hat. I vouch for him, too.
Ah, shit, I forgot about that. Never mind. I take it back.
Well, Russ, if I can make you feel better, you guys were obviously at a big disadvantage on being able to choose quarterbacks. I was not, and I still ended up with the trio of Big Ben, Cam Newton, and Phillip Rivers.
Ouch.
Ooh, at least Rivers started.
Yeah.
That's rough.
I actually got to start Taysom Hill on a bye week, on Phillip Rivers' bye week. That was fun.
That's like the only thing Taysom Hill is good for is the fact that you can words. Yeah,
you
can
play him at quarterback.
Yeah. Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
Going back
I remember. I'm in that league with I'm in that league with Josh as well, and I made a big push for the playoffs. I was in second place, and I traded for Stafford and someone else, and the two of them got injured, and got knocked out in the first round of the playoffs playing Jeff Driscoll, I think, as my QB. So it just didn't work out for me either in that league.
Jerry, you should have come to me and gotten Phillip Rivers.
You were better off not doing it, man.
I'm working so hard behind the scenes right now, trying to make a trade with one of you people.
Yeah, I pulled up Jerry's team, and
I know, me
then-
too. I'm looking at Jerry's team and your team in that league and trying to see if I can put something together real quick. But
then we started talking about the cartoon do-getters trade. And I had to
no,
pull that up.
Jerry, no, we're not talking about Cam Newton. No. We went back and forth a little bit about him last week, didn't we?
Yeah. We did.
Okay, so while we're talking,
No, he's not worth the one.
you asked for the 105 for Cam Newton.
It was in there, yeah. It was yes. It was too much to ask.
Okay, we have someone else in the waiting room, and Jason, it's been awesome having you on, but
Yeah.
I'm kicking you off to let someone else in. So thanks
Okay.
for stopping by.
Yep.
And see you later.
Man, I only really came on to talk to Jason.
Oh dear
Oh.
God.
Like that. That's
So
that's
I
terrible of you.
so I will say, so earlier today, Peter, you know, you are a dapper looking fella.
I am awesome.
Yes. The mediocre handshake was not appropriate.
The mediocre handshake.
Yeah, the mediocre the GIF. You don't even remember. You talked
He
to so
doesn't
many
know.
people today. He has no idea. It's all good.
No, I honestly don't. I
just
have a
weird
very
seeing him
firm
at the
handshake. I have, I'm just looking for a man named Robert Koch. Have you seen him? I've been chasing him around the internet. I heard he was here. I stopped in. Anyone know? Anyone seen him?
I think he's succumbed to the Rona at this point.
Ah, damn. He's always one step ahead of me, man. I've been chasing him around these internets. Can't find him. What's going on with you guys, though?
No, just chilling.
Cool.
You know, hanging out,
Cool.
talking.
Nice. Now, I was having a really nice conversation in a chat room, and like you two just keep like talking over us. So like, stop it.
Oh,
If you wouldn't mind. Like we were just chatting it up, talking some football, talking some quarantine life. And then in you come, like just barging over the top of us, like just talking like we weren't even there. It's upsetting.
I am not Gabe Gearing. I acknowledge the chat. I see it. I am interacting with it.
Fair enough. No, what's going on? Anything we're talking about that's interesting?
No, I'm kind of out of things to talk about, and the chat is having a wonderful time talking to each other, but not really giving us anything to talk about.
Oh yeah, well, we're the best ones are in the chat. That's the secret of these live shows. Everyone should sign up for your Patreon so they can get in the live chat. I think that's really your point there, right?
Sure. If they're signing up for the Patreon, it doesn't matter why. So yeah.
Sorry, was I promoting something that you're selling? I'm terribly sorry.
You just gave them an opening and they missed it.
We did not.
I just completely.
Nope, I was.
Yes, do that, please.
Yeah, all right. Can we go back to something that's maybe interesting? Like I just traded Marcus Brown and the 112 for Austin Eckler. And who else did I give up? Oh, JJ Sega-Whiteside. And you were talking about Harry earlier, and it seems to me that Marcus Brown is the undervalued wide receiver from 2019 class, right? I mean, he's someone who actually did something in his first rookie year. Nothing great, but we don't expect a lot from your rookie year. We just expect something. And he's the one who did it, and who's actually, like, his ADP, I think, is higher than Harry's right now, but, like, he's really easy to trade for. Like, people are just asking you to take him, whereas, like you were saying earlier, N'Keal Harry, you basically, like, I was offering J. Mike Check from the open bar, who hates me and Julio. Not saying there's a connection between me and Julio, but it's interesting that we keep occurring on similar lists that way. He wouldn't, like, I had a trade, like, I've sent him some real bad trades since, but like I offered him Keenan Allen and some stuff, Harry, and some stuff back, and it really wasn't that much on the other side. And he was saying no. So I just started offering him players who actually had a better season than Harry last year, but aren't even worth a 4th round draft pick. I thought it was a really cool troll. He didn't enjoy it so much, it seems. But like Marcus Brown, I went to the guy who had Marcus Brown, and he was like, "Yeah, sure," and have a pick with him for a similar trade that I offered for N'Keal Harry straight up. And again, Marcus Brown's the one who had a decent rookie season, and Harry had a rookie season that there is literally a 0% hit rate of players who did what N'Keal Harry did in his first season. 0%. No one's ever come back from it. And, you know, since I never liked N'Keal Harry, this just confirms everything I've always said.
Never liked N'Keal Harry.
No, never told anyone to draft him one-on-one overall.
I mean, yeah.
I'm just going to keep talking, guys. You keep staring at me.
So here's my thing.
Like, this is now the PA Howdy Trade Addicts show. First thing you should know, I'm bad at trades. I don't have a trade addict problem. I just genuinely get blocked by people because of my trade offers. So like that should be known right up front here at the start of that. You guys still aren't interrupting me. I'm really gonna start a new
now
show
at this
here.
point I'm just letting you go.
All right.
Tried to talk
So on the line we have Jerry
Shea.
Shea over from Ireland. How you doing, Jerry?
I'm doing very good. Yourself?
Yeah, nice to meet you, dude. Patriots fan, I see. What do you think of N'Keal Harry? What would you trade for him?
An early second in Superflex leagues, and yeah.
See, that seems to me to be a sensible proposition, right? A player who has lost value after a bad season, so he can't be worth a first anymore. He has to be worth a second. That seems like a sensible man right there. Which leagues are you in, Jerry? Because I would really like some N'Keal Harry shares, but no one will recognize the fact he should be worth less than he was last year.
I'm in TA2 with Brian and Outhouse, and Marcus Brown is available for trade if anyone wants.
I'm in TA7.
Sure you got
right over.
Me, so no thanks.
Excuse me, Russ. Don't interrupt. We have an order on my show.
Sorry.
This is uncalled for, really. Josh, what do you think? I see you up there, Real Fantasy L. Is that Real Fantasy TL? TL, nice. I'd lean in to read it properly, but I'm not very polite. N'Keal Harry, up or down in value for you?
Definitely down. I think the highest pick I'd give up for him is the 202.
See, that's a good proposition as well, because 2020 first were trading for more than 2019 first last year, or at least at equal value during the draft, when 2019 first should be, you know, at their most valuable during the draft, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Great.
So, Peter, N'Keal Harry or Rashad Penny?
Brian, seriously, you two. Did I ask?
I asked.
Yeah, exactly. We've got an order here. I call a name. This is now my show. All right. This is the way we're running it. No, go ahead, Brian. Go on.
No. I asked the question: Rashad Penny or N'Keal Harry?
Rashad Penny or N'Keal Harry? Well, Rashad Penny's lost even more value after 2 straight years, right? So Harry wins.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. All right, that was fun, Brian. Thanks for coming on.
Sure.
Russ, I see you in the corner there. Are targets a physical thing that exist? I heard you talking about vacated targets earlier, so I just want to check. Are targets a physical thing that exist?
Can you touch them? No, but can you touch
Okay, thank you. So yeah, they don't exist. They're not here. People can't pick them up, right? Thank you, Russ. That about says it all. That's all from the PA trade.
Thought you were a lecturer, not a lawyer.
No, I've been thinking about phrasing it this way because I seem to have a hard time convincing people the whole idea that vacated targets are a myth. But they're not, and so I'm starting to think about phrasing it that targets don't exist. They're not a thing. You can't find them. They don't exist right now. And any targets that existed in theory last year, because they're only ever a theory, they're not an object or an item. And projecting them into the next season is literally insanity. And it's not semantics. Like, I understand the argument itself sounds somewhat semantic, but it's not. It's a fundamental misconception of the way to try and project another season. Like, if you're starting with the idea that last year's targets have anything to do with next year's targets, you're starting out with a fundamental misconception that's going to lead you to a lot more misses than it ever will accuracy or hits. And I think it's a really important point, but I keep having a trouble trying to explain it to people, they think it delves into semantics, and it's really not. Like, you're fundamentally misunderstanding what targets can and can't be. There's something earned and created there, and they're not a physical thing. They're a moment in time based on when a wide receiver. I run into a lot of, Calvin Ridley will have better targets now because Austin Hooper isn't there. But it always presumes something like Calvin Ridley wasn't getting targeted on Calvin Ridley routes. Like, he's the first read on some routes. That's how that works. And he gets, and sometimes when the play moves to the second or third read or breaks down, Calvin Ridley is able to get open and work for his quarterback, and that's part of his skill too. So he's creating some targets,
but there might be more Calvin Ridley routes because Austin Hooper isn't there to have Austin Hooper routes.
Well, to tie it into a wide receiver is a little bit of a different calculation. So maybe it's a bad example, but it's not entirely. So I'm just going to run with it and pretend I didn't say that. No, I mean, Austin Hooper was the target on plenty of his routes that he ran where he caught targets and earned the team first downs. They weren't Calvin Ridley routes. There might be more, there will be a higher percentage of targets going towards the wide receivers because there's no longer a good tight end there. And so the tight end targets will diminish. But the fact that Austin Hooper was good and is a good player meant that he could do good things whenever he was targeted, whenever he did get the ball. He could create a first down. He could move the ball down the field. And that is just logically, if you remove the idea, the fundamental misconception of what targets are from your thinking, you realize that that's a good thing for Calvin Ridley. Because if the offense keeps the ball more often, then there are more opportunities for Calvin Ridley. So the team being worse without Austin Hooper is bad for the other players, not better.
And to be fair, I apologize that we were speaking over the chat when I did say that, but I mean, I completely forgot when I brought that point up, but with Zeke and Tony Pollard, it helps me think, Brian.
It's fine. I talk with my hands too. It's all good.
I'm
fine with Zeke getting less touch not with Zeke getting less touches, but I'm fine with Tony Pollard being part of the offense because he's good, does something that Zeke doesn't, and that will create more first downs, will create more offense, better offense, more opportunity. That's the word.
Yeah. Well, more trips
I completely agree with what
on
you're saying, and I brought up the word vacated targets just because I was hoping you would jump on at some point.
I know. I heard the bat signal. It's the PA howdy signal. Someone's saying something I don't agree with. I must go and tell them they're wrong. I'm basically Twitter personified. Everyone must know my opinion.
So Peter, question. So what you're saying is making a lot of sense, as it usually does. So Atlanta's defense being so terrible. So you talked about the offense getting worse overall, and therefore not allowing for those opportunities to necessarily be there, or as many of them. Where's the bat? Like, does the defense being terrible in Atlanta offset that a little bit?
I'm not really a defensive guy, but I have heard that argument before that they'll be on the field quicker, basically, because the defense is getting trashed. And it sounds logical, but it's not something I can say bears out when you compare statistics. Like, bad teams have more pass attempts. That doesn't mean you want their wide receivers because they're bad teams, oftentimes with bad wide receivers. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I can't find anything to say that the efficiency of the defense is going to increase the scoring potential in fantasy for wide receivers. So mostly I ignore it. I mean, from a real football perspective, and that's where there might be some disconnect here. Like, I'm talking about projection and fantasy football and scoring. That's very different than, trying to understand the role Calvin Ridley will play from a football perspective, from a football guy's perspective. I'm not near girthy enough. I'm not man enough to be a football guy. I've had this explained to me. I will be destroyed. I get it. I'm 6'2", 200 pounds, and I run a 4-minute mile, but I'm not strong enough or fit enough to really compete with football guys on Twitter. I get it. I'm not man enough. But from fantasy purposes, that was meant to be funny, and it came off as aggressive, as I so often do. We can't use it to find higher scoring opportunities for wide receivers. I mean, so to me, I just discount it. But from a real football perspective, it has a very real effect on the way the team's going to play. I can get that. And sometimes I find myself talking across people. Like, there are so many people, like big names and small names like myself, that are more talking about the game itself rather than trying to project fantasy points, which is a very different thing. So I'm trying to note that as well when I point out that targets don't exist.
Well, I think I think the reason a lot of people love the idea of vacated targets is really just because they try to create their own bias. They want to be able to say Calvin Ridley is going to be better because those targets, and I like Calvin Ridley, so that means I'm right and I'm going to be right. I think that's really the biggest thing. It's something to cling to and to tell yourself a story, which is a little important. Like, you need to be able to tell yourself a story.
You do.
But that doesn't mean it's real.
Well, here's the thing. I think Calvin Ridley could have a better year last year. I'm almost expecting it right now, though I haven't done projections yet because I need a few weeks off, guys. But all I'm saying is remove the misconception, and you can value Calvin Ridley, and you don't have to spend capital on Green Bay wide receiver 2 last year. Like, there was way too much speculation in those guys because the players hadn't proven to be good. And so that if you remove the idea that targets exist and look forward to the next season, it becomes all about the players. And I think that's the cleaner way of doing it, because Calvin Ridley has proven to be good at the NFL level. I mean, everyone in the NFL is insanely good. Let's just underwrite that, just for when all the people tell me that, I hate these people. I don't. All the people in the NFL are insanely good athletes, insanely good football players. And that having been said, when we're talking about projecting fantasy points, it's just a little different. Good isn't good enough. Sometimes bad is good enough. It's a weird thing. I admit it. But Green Bay's wide receiver 2s had never proven to, in college or in the NFL, to be as good as Randall Cobb or Jordy Nelson. So them being good didn't mean that the wide receiver 2 in Green Bay had targets to pick up off the ground. All that happened is the targets, I think, overall went down. Devontae Adams, who had proven to be good, picked up a larger share of wide receiver targets because he's the last wide receiver standing. And even the tight end had a larger role in the red zone. I know everyone hates Jimmy Graham, but that's just more proof that he is a better player at the position for fantasy purposes than most players in the NFL, even at his diminished capacity at where he is in his career right now. And so if you just start fresh and think, what can these wide receivers do? What can these players do? Then you recognize there's no one at the tight end position that compares to Austin Hooper, so you can just ignore it for Atlanta. Whereas Calvin Ridley had one of the better rookie seasons than we've seen since 2014, right? So he's proven to be good in the NFL, and he was good last year. So Calvin Ridley can be good in 2020 because Calvin Ridley is good. He's going to do good things for the team, and that's going to help the team, which is going to create more opportunities. And that's where we get to tight end being a slightly different calculation when you're talking about projections. I'm not sure how much that hurts the offense yet. I know it hurts the position, but I'm not sure I'm going to project a lot of drop in the offensive production for the team as a whole because of the loss of Austin Hooper. It's one of those weird things about a tight end. You've got basically Jimmy Graham in his heyday and Gronkowski, who made a significant impact on the level of offense that was produced, and that's it. I mean, even I've forgotten his name, of course, just to underline the fact that I'm not a football guy, I guess. Atlanta tight end. It's phenomenal.
Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez, thanks.
I was about to say Austin Hooper's
one of the best tight ends to ever play the game. The loss of him didn't drastically affect, I think, the offensive ability to produce. Whereas the loss of a good wide receiver significantly.
Anthony Gonzalez.
Whereas the loss of good wide receiver significantly can, which is why you see Cincinnati get hurt when AJ Green isn't there. And Tyler Boyd, again, that's the same thing. If you remove the fallacy, you don't expect more from Tyler Boyd with AJ Green being gone. You worry about Tyler Boyd because AJ Green's gone. And you still, because Tyler Boyd's good, he still had a decent season, but he's not AJ Green. And it also underlines players like AJ Green and like Julio Jones. These guys were literally fueling an offense, but it's not just target share and fantasy points. These guys are able to move an offense there are singular individuals in the history of our little fantasy game in terms of the ability to create offensive output. Tight ends don't really do it, apart from those two. And there are very few wide receivers that can do it. DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones, Antonio Brown, like you can name them. It's that easy. Over the last 7-10 years, you can name the guys who have been able to do it. Tyler Boyd isn't that guy. And I don't think Calvin Ridley is, but Calvin Ridley still has Julio Jones. So overall, I think that's positive for him going into 2020. And notice I didn't have to think that any of their quarterbacks are generational to believe that. That's the other thing I don't exactly cotton with.
I'm actually going to stop you from talking now because that was wonderful
Thank
to listen
you.
to.
God.
I was waiting for you to breathe at some point, and I just wanted to see how long you can keep going. But you're talking about Calvin Ridley, and I love Calvin Ridley.
I really can just keep going. It's insane.
I know, and I'm going to be honest, I love it, and that's why I was just letting it happen. I mean, it's my show; I get to choose that, right?
It's your show again now. Okay, cool. Thank God.
My show
I don't need more
PA
work.
Howdy.
I don't need
this
more
section
work.
of the Trade Addicts podcast brought to you by at PA Howdy. Michael Casper at FF Aggregator brought up two questions that involve Brian. That's your name. Brian's boys in them. So I wanted to talk about them a little bit. 10-team, 1 QB, Godwin or the 102? I mean, he says the 102, Justice Hill, and the 210, but let's face it, Godwin or the 102? Let's go around the horn.
I think I'd take Godwin.
I mean, so Godwin are your choice of 2 out of the 3 top running backs. Josh, what do you think?
Godwin, but it's pretty close.
Jerry?
Godwin, it's easy.
Peter, that's your name, right? Pa? What do you think?
What was the other side? Godwin and the 102 for what?
No, Godwin or the 102.
Oh, Godwin, easily.
Yeah, to me, this is pretty easy. Honestly, in a 1 QB, I think Godwin's worth more than the 101. Especially with... What?
Sorry to interrupt you, Russ. I was just wondering what you think of the class, because that really feeds into it. Like, if this is Saquon Barkley's year or Ezekiel Elliott's year, then I kind of lean the pick if I think I can get that guy somehow with the 102. But I see more floor, especially at the running back position, than I see ceiling this year. And that makes it very easily Godwin, right?
Yeah. And especially with the change in the offense, I think there's a chance that now this is super narrative with nothing actually behind it because we don't even know what game they're going to run. But I mean, why can't Godwin be Edelman right now, even though they don't play the same game? But they're slot receiver and route running slot receivers. There you go. So, I mean, I definitely like Godwin over Evans in this new offense. So, I mean, to me, easy Godwin over the 101. If it was super flex, I'd be taking Burrow over Godwin, but that would bring me pause. All right. So pretty much, yeah, that's good. There was another one. Hold on. Miles Sanders or the 106?
Super flex?
Again, 1 QB.
1 QB.
So we're talking.
If CD Lamb is at the 106, I want Lamb.
Oh, we're starting this again. You're going to punch yourself in the face for missing out. No, but like Miles Sanders or JT Swift or Dobbins? Would you rather have Sanders over those 3 guys?
Probably not. And I love Miles Sanders.
Exactly. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
And then Lamb, Judy, or Sanders?
Lamb over Sanders. Judy's probably, I don't know.
See, again, you're holding back from these trades, worrying that CD Lamb could fall 2 full spots. And at that tier break, I feel like that's a really big deal. Like, to me, I would take Sanders over the 106. The only reason I wouldn't is just because maybe I think, depending on the league, if I think the 106 can gain enough value that at the draft I can get Sanders plus because somebody goes nuts.
Unless you're thinking you're getting a running back with top 12 upside there at Sanders. I did want to ask, though, is this the golden time to trade picks away? Something I was just talking to someone else about. Like, I've heard you guys say it, and that's actually why I wanted to ask, because you guys are a lot better on value than I am in fantasy. I think draft picks lose value at a certain window, and especially into the draft, everyone always says, like, wait till you're on the clock. Maybe if the pressure for the individual you're trying to trade to is there, that I want that guy, and I'm going to, maybe, but most of the times I've tried that, I actually find a draft pick lull. When it comes to actually making your pick and it's getting real close, people get almost an anxiety. It's like, what if I'm wrong? What if CD Lamb is Corey Davis? And I think there's a lull of value. Like right now, we're outside of it. And so trading your 1.2 for our Godwins it's the right time to try and trade your picks away. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there isn't a lull, and that's just my personal experience. But I found there's a drop in value.
I think there's waves, is really the best way to put it. I mean, this year doesn't really count because things are kind of screwed up right now. But, you know, the combine happens and all of a sudden picks skyrocket because Ruggs runs a 4.12, which I know he didn't really do, but people like Chase Claypool happen, and that pushes even those lower picks up a bit. People get excited for these picks, and see Devin Duvernay run ridiculously fast and all of that stuff, and all of these picks gain value, and then we're at this point in between the combine and the draft, and it's just like free agency is happening, things are happening for players, and openings are being taken. Like, if we knew the Falcons were going to cut Freeman, so we were assuming Atlanta had an opening at running back. That opening is now gone. I mean, it would be kind of silly for the Falcons to spend a second-round pick on a running back right now. Will they do it? Who the hell knows? Because you can't always assume rational coaching or GMing. But, I mean, that's what happens. That's why I think right now, you're right, there's a bit of a lull in value for draft picks because nothing's happening with these rookies, but things are happening for players and for spots, opportunities, I guess is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And then in the normal world, we'd be getting pro days where things start to get up a little bit, and then
landing spots.
Yeah, and then the draft happens, and then things kaboom, and then depending on your league, when you have your rookie draft is when it really happens. You're very right about waiting till you're on the clock. Sometimes that's bad. And it really is depending on how your draft is falling, because if things are going chalk, no one's going to try and do much. I think people are going to wait for things as expected and stuff like that, and no one's going to try and do anything crazy. But if you have a weird draft, picks might start being traded like crazy because no one knows what's going on, but I need to get T. Higgins, so I need to trade to the 107, even though chances are he's not going to the 111.
I mean, there are some instances, like I can remember Kenny Golladay falling into the second round in one of my drafts, and I threw everything I could think of to try and get, and so did three other people, and then the guy figured out that there was someone still on the board and went and traded him. He got Kenny Golladay and still won't trade him to me. So it happens, but it's like, I think if you wait, maybe it's simpler than I'm trying to explain it, but if you get a good trade for your pick now, then take it now.
Yep.
Like, don't wait. That's all I'm basically saying. I mean, it's
no,
not
I
that
agree. Like,
is it?
Everything should always be on the table. And yes, there is a 99.9 repeating chance your draft pick is going to be worth more in 2 months than it is right now. That's the reality of the situation. But that doesn't mean you don't take a good trade right now, because so much is going to happen in 2 months, and lulls might hit where you have that itch, and now you have a much better player you can trade and not that pick. I mean, teams are your team is fluid. Sitting on it and doing nothing is A, boring, and B, bad for your team. So getting something that is tangible is always a good thing. And
yeah,
players are tangible.
Sorry, Brian, go on.
No, all I was going to say is, for me, it all comes back. It always comes back to value. I mean, if you're getting good value for the pick, then it doesn't matter what time you're getting that value, right? So if you're getting good, if like in that example, the 102 for Godwin, I mean, that's pretty good value to get Chris Godwin for that pick. So regardless of whether we're doing that now or whether we did that a month ago or a month from now, that's good value. I think the times where I wait is when I feel like I could squeeze more value out. Maybe I'll wait to the and especially not necessarily with the top couple of picks, but when you have picks on the opposite end or opposite side of the tier break. So like, for example, a guy like CEH from LSU, right? So if he ends up in Kansas City, he's a top. I mean, he hit that pick at that tier break is going to go up tremendously in value because it pushes it either he's going to be there or it pushes another player down if he jumps up into that top 5. So that's where I think you can kind of take advantage of the ebbs and flows of the pick value. He's hilarious.
Sorry, Peter just did a very nice modeling job of his dummies mug. It just made me laugh.
So
no, I was just thinking, didn't CEH die? Some guy on Twitter, some golf pro, told me that CEH is dead now because he ran a 4.6 or something.
Oh, R.I.P.
Yeah,
He must not watch. He must not grind some tape.
Nah, he's a golfer. He can't.
Yeah.
Can't. Well, I did have another interesting value question, unless anyone else has anything to add on that one. Like, I don't want to interrupt.
I just wanted to jump in real quick. You were talking about Godwin for the 102. If you make that trade and get Godwin and get rid of the 102, like you were saying, Russ, everything's fluid. If you really have the want to get back into the first round, there's another trade to be made. You can, get in, especially like you were saying, Peter, on the clock. If someone thought they were going to be able to make a trade for a pick and all of a sudden no one comes calling, that's maybe where you sneak in and say, hey, you might be trying to get rid of the 107 and, Justin Jefferson's there, something guy you really like, and kind of slide in and maybe even gain value on that pick as well, and kind of do kind of a 2-for-1 where you get Godwin and then you still get back in the first round and get another guy that you like.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw.
Problem is when you say something that people agree with on a podcast, everyone just stares. Like,
oh no, I was reading. I saw.
I wanted to
Twitter,
disagree
the Seahawks
with you.
Traded for Dunbar, and I'm like, Lance Dunbar's back, but no, he's a cornerback, Quentin Dunbar. That's twice they traded for the wrong last name. Last year they got the wrong Diggs, and now they got the wrong Dunbar. I don't think John Schneider knows how to read. I think that's the problem.
Is there
he
a
sees
right
that last
Diggs?
name and he's just like, yes. Quandary Diggs. Yes, that's his name. Yes. And
Anyway.
Quentin Dunbar.
The other what I thought was an interesting value question that I got asked, and I had no answer for it, especially at the time. Sometimes it helps to let yourself be cold about a situation. I know we're going through an amazing crisis right now, and there's so many real world implications. A fantasy football podcast probably isn't the best place to talk about any of it, but maybe it helps to think about it in some cold-hearted manner, or it does for me, cold-hearted data guy that I am. Someone asked me, is it time to start selling players based on the idea that 2020 won't happen or will be hindered or be in some way obviously affected by what's going on right now? Now, I know that's not probably the way to talk about the crisis. Our fantasy teams aren't really important, but I mean, I kind of like talking about that rather than the very real serious implications of it.
Yes.
And it was interesting, like as traders, as value guys, like when do you start to broaden your horizon that way? Like, is it time to trade Julio? Not because he's 31, but by the time you get a regular season fantasy, he might be 33. If the worst happens, is there any way to try and fantasy footballize a national crisis?
No, go ahead, man.
I was just going to say, I mean, when it comes to a player like Julio Jones, the answer's don't panic.
Never sell Julio. That's a bad example.
Well, yeah. I mean, there are certain players that you're never going to get. Russ and I have talked about, and Julio's the perfect example for that, for the argument. But, we talk about how sometimes those older players it's okay that they die in your team. Yeah. I mean, it's okay that you don't get any trade value for them and their last year they're done and you have to move on from them because the production is going to outweigh the loss of trade value. that you would get if you traded them away. I'm not personally panicked yet. I don't think. I mean,
but you'd want to be early, right? In a cold-hearted manner, you'd want to do it before anyone else noticed.
Probably. Yeah,
ideally value.
Yeah,
right?
right.
Like
ideally,
Zeke is another good example, maybe.
Yeah. See, I just don't. I think. So here's the thing. I think you can still be early in like a month from now. Like I wouldn't do it right now.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Like
I think
far away from when you think
like
we'd have to pay.
Like 6 weeks, 8 weeks down the line, we're gonna know a lot more about where we are as a country in terms of what's going on. So I think for me, I think it's good, Peter, to be thinking about that. Yes, it's good to have it on your radar, but I wouldn't panic yet, or start making moves yet per se.
Has anyone seen that GIF, by the way? I don't even know who made it, what it was originally made for, or maybe they literally went out and created it for this crisis, in which case, fair play. But there's a GIF of a guy throwing a pass on a field. They're wearing uniforms, so I assume it's from before now. But anyway, because, social distancing. But he, sprays the ball as it's coming to him and catches it under his leg. Yeah. It's the most perfect thing I've ever. It's like 2020 is going to be lit. Sorry.
So to answer your
that.
no, that was actually fantastic, and I watched it a few times when I saw it. But to answer your question, I think the guys we have to worry about are the guys we worried about in the first place. It's guys, wide receivers changing teams, guys in new offenses, because I hope the regular season isn't going to be affected. Like the regular season is going to start as it is, but we already know that off-season workouts are getting affected. They're being postponed. They're being canceled.
Right.
So I think
it's going to look different, even if it starts on. I mean, there's going to be something going on, so it's going to be a weird year, right?
Yeah. So I think. Yeah. I mean, you brought up Julio Jones, and then you said right away it's a bad example, but it's the perfect example of the guy you don't have to panic about. He doesn't need the offseason. I mean, it's like every year, oh no, Adrian Peterson didn't play in the preseason. Like, he has literally never played in the preseason his entire career. I mean, get over it. He doesn't need it. It's fine. So, but I think the guys, N'Keal Harry got a little screwed because he missed the preseason and then wasn't on the same page with Brady. The trust wasn't there. He screwed up once and then he was in the doghouse. That's the kind of thing you need to worry about. Young guys, new offenses. I mean, that's the kind of stuff maybe I'm a little panicked about. Am I going to sell my rookie picks cheaper because of it? No. But yes, that is absolutely something you should have in the back of your mind. My 10,000 shares of Robbie Anderson are even more screwed, even though he's not on the team yet anyway, because he's going to go to a new team and not be able to do anything about it.
And I feel like I haven't said anything to make anyone hate me recently. So, Stefan Diggs is dead now, right?
Yes. And it makes me know what he is. He's Deshaun Jackson. He is. You have to hope he catches a 60-yard touchdown. Like, it was great to have him as your wide receiver too, but now he better be your wide receiver 4. Otherwise, you're probably screwed a lot of the time.
Stefan Diggs is Deshaun Jackson. I like that. I'm quoting you.
it makes me want to cry. It legitimately does, because I freaking love.
Oh yeah,
Stephon
love the player.
Diggs.
Right, he's someone
but that was such a bad place for him to land. I mean,
see, I don't think he's Deshaun Jackson though. They already have Deshaun Jackson on their team, in John Brown. So what is
Deshaun Jackson on the Bills?
No, John Brown.
The thing is, John Brown is more than that also, but that's what he became on that team. John Brown's a very good route runner. It's just you can't run routes with Josh Allen. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if that is, and he will be in the exact right place at the exact. I mean, he's phenomenal. I mean, he's amazing. It doesn't matter when your quarterback can't hit the place he's aiming for. I'm going to be right here. Okay. I'm not going to hit that place, so it doesn't really matter. But thank you. It actually kills my Cole Beasley more than anything else, because someone said he wouldn't unseat Cole Beasley in the slot. And the thing is, Cole Beasley's really good. He's undervalued as a player and as a fantasy asset. Mm-hmm. Stefan Diggs is a lot better than Cole Beasley. So yes, he will unseat Cole Beasley. I don't have that worry. Yeah, I think Cole Beasley did pretty well with that role.
Maybe Josh Allen can run the ball 10 yards and hand it to Stefan Diggs.
There you go. Lateral it backwards and let Diggs do something in the open field. I like it. Okay, let's give McDermott a call.
Josh Allen did improve in his second year more than I would have thought would, but he was still below average. Like, that's the thing. He had so far to come that a phenomenal jump brought him up, like, not as good as Terry Bridgewater. So, we'd have to expect another jump just as good to get him in, Phillip Rivers range as a passer, and that's not what we want either. Or Kirk Cousins, for that matter, since we're talking about Diggs. It's upsetting.
Okay, but we just passed the 2-hour mark, so we need to start winding this down because this is not the open bar, and we are not going for record for the longest podcast ever.
You really shouldn't have let me in.
Are you kidding? I will take any opportunity to sit and listen to you talk that I can get. So since I had control of it, I literally didn't. I had the power to make it happen, so I let it happen.
Such a lie. I mean, you literally just said you weren't going to do that, and then you turn around and say you're going to do that. Well, what's that about? It's like, I'm going to stop you talking. I would never stop you talking. Like, it's very tilting. Right? Okay, I don't know how to feel right now.
The power of wanting to go to sleep overpowers everything. Let's put it that way. My bed is literally calling me right now.
I just feel bad that Jerry and Josh have been in here longer than me, and you guys were talking it all up, and I come in and just suck out, just suck.
It's their lack
of
podcast
keep talking
experience.
and completely drown them out
over people.
Like people should know what Jerry and Josh feel, I think.
I'm just listening to Peter and all of his greatness, so I'm good with it.
I appreciate you guys and your lives.
We're just here to make you happy, Peter. But like I said, at this point, we're going to try and wind down. So, Peter, since you've been talking for God knows how long at this point, why don't you just wrap it up, tell everyone where they can find all of your stuff and everything?
No, it's fine. I'm on Twitter at PA Howdy. I'm happy to talk about football whenever, wherever. So, that's where you can find me. I'm also a content creator for DLF. So, just go follow Brian and Russ, and they'll let you know what's going on there.
And you need to become a patron of Pa Howdy. My phone.
Seriously, I get that was the second opportunity you had to mention the fact you have a Patreon, and instead you mentioned mine. That's. I thought I was bad at this, Russ. Yeah, please go sign up for the Trade Addicts Patreon. Somewhere, I'm sure Russ or Brian have it buried on their feed. Not anywhere that's easy to access because, they're bad at selling themselves. But they do this every week, a live chat, filming their podcast. They're great to talk to. And you should really check it out because you get to watch it live. And, like I've been doing, troll them all evening. And it's a lot of fun. From personal experience, trolling Russ and Brian while they try to live record is probably the most fun you can have while listening to a fantasy football podcast. I highly recommend it. And they're one of the good guys who don't set the bar at $10. So, you have to worry about keeping the lights on and your fantasy football content. It's really it's not one of those patrons. It's very good entry level payment. And like I said, you just get to make fun of them while they record, and they hate it, and it feels great.
And I will probably say something about it every single time because I am very easily tilted, and that is why Peter and I get along so well.
You can follow Jerry at Jerry Shea FF. I'm just going to do it for you guys, apparently. And Josh at Real Fantasy TL. Both great guys to talk to when there isn't some a-hole taking up the air in the room just because he feels like it. With great fantasy takes. One of them's from Ireland. That's a much better accent. Like, people talk about my accent all the time. Have you heard Irish people speak?
No, nice. Because Jerry barely spoke this entire time he's been on.
Well, that's my fault, not Jerry.
And Peter, I appreciate you leaning into read it this time.
Okay, so now that
I'm going to put everyone on the bandwagon of social distancing. That's my if I keep talking, people will begin to be like, "Yeah, we need more social distancing, not left." I need to make sure that I never end up in a conversation with that guy.
We're going to virtually social distance ourselves from Peter right now. Bye, Peter.
Oh my God, that was fun.
I love pie. Okay, so now that he's gone and someone else can actually talk again, Josh, why don't you tell everybody who you are and all your stuff and say goodbye?
I'm Josh at Real Fantasy TL, co-host of the Fantasy Timeline with my main man Bill at Super Duper Flex. He's in the chat, just chatting it up with everybody. It's a cool little pod. Both Russ and Brian have been on it and have elevated it on 2 separate occasions. So I appreciate you guys. And I just wanted to jump on, real quick and just congratulate you guys. 100 episodes. That's huge, and you're both awesome guys just away from all this, so appreciate you guys.
Appreciate
Thanks, man.
you, Josh.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. Deuces kicking you out. This is fun. This feels like I feel very powerful just being able to click a
Kicking
button and
people
make
out.
someone go away. Gonna be honest, I don't know why I haven't been doing this more often. All right. Well, Jerry, now's your time to shine, man. Speak a little bit. Tell people who you are. Remind them that you awesomely run the Trade Addicts pod account. Go for it.
Yeah, so at Jerry Shea FF is my Twitter handle. I run as you said, the Trade Addicts podcast Twitter account, and apart from that, that's about it. I'd say it's time for me to go to bed. It's nearly coming on 4 a.m. here, so
Oh, dude!
I have to go to bed. Yeah, so it was great talking to you, and congratulations again on the 100th pod. And I'll talk to you soon.
Man,
Thanks,
good night,
Jerry.
man.
Good
Much
talking
love
with
for
you,
you
man.
being awake for this, man. Go the hell to bed, man. I was complaining about
Good night.
being tired. Holy shit, kicking you out, so you go to
Night.
bed now.
He just kicked himself out. No, he didn't. I thought you just kicked yourself
No,
out.
I
for
clicked
half
a button.
second.
Hold on, there you go.
That was going to be hilarious. I was going to laugh so hard. Oh, man. Lots of fun, huh?
So good, so much fun. These live shows are always so much fun.
They are, no doubt.
But we are going to wrap this up because we are now at 2 hours and 11 minutes. I was thinking about wrapping this up when we hit 1 hour and 11 minutes, and then Peter. So like I said in the beginning, and Peter said for you, if you are having fun with all of this right now, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you were in the chat, patreon.com/tradeaddictspod, you could jump in every single week when we record, or just watch the unedited video afterwards. If you're in for a $5 donation, then you get the Cool Kids Club, which is our chat on GroupMe, which is, I don't know why it's going now, because they should be in this chat watching us, but still they're talking anyway in there. But whatever, that's still good for them. What else do we got? Brian modeling his beautiful Trade Addicts hoodie, which
Yes.
I freaking love the hoodies we have.
So do I.
ffpodshirts.storeenvy.com. We have Trade Addicts, we have Superflex, Super Show, Top Shelf DFF, Dynasty Diagnostic, Dynasty Game Night, and Coast to Coast Scouting, which I still, man, Andrew was supposed to be on last week and I haven't talked to him since. I was in the middle of setting some stuff up for him, but there's still some cool stuff for Coast to Coast Scouting. 10% of all sales go to Fantasy Cares. So get some cool stuff for you, get some kids some cool stuff for Christmas, the holidays. I apologize. Speaking of getting cool stuff for you and kids getting cool stuff for Christmas, you can see these now even if you're not a patron. The Trade Addicts Pod wristbands. Trade Addicts Pod wristbands, $5 each. They are the navy blue, neon green. Getting tired.
And bear with us as far as the shipping and those out goes with Corona and stuff. It's
well, yeah. They're $5 a wristband. $2 of every wristband goes to Fantasy Cares. Clearly, shipping's going to be a little delayed at this point with the whole, quarantine thing going on. But we will get them to you as soon as we can, and I will make sure Brian draws you an extra nice picture.
Yeah, I will definitely add a picture.
Man, there's probably more. Is there more? There's the lamp with the little guy underneath. So is he like levitating? Did he throw the lamp and that's why the lamp is so big because it's perspective? Or is somebody about to squish a little guy with a lamp?
It can be whatever your mind and heart desire.
I'm going to dream that it's a guy using the force and moving the lamp further away from him so the lamp gets bigger.
There you go.
Crap. All right. Well, on that note, Brian,
yes,
thank you for being on this ridiculous journey with me for what is now 100 episodes, even though you're technically at 97-ish. But this show would not be what it is without the smart person in the room, and that is obviously you. So thank you, sir, for
hey,
letting me
don't
ride your coattails.
do not cut yourself short like that, bro. You are smart as well, and I appreciate you saying those words. But this has been really fun to do, and I enjoy it every week. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of it, and we're excited to kind of see where this thing goes from here too. Who knows? 100 episodes from now, it might look completely different, but hopefully we're still going strong. And yeah, it's been an awesome time. Appreciate everybody in the chat tonight joining us and watching. Hope you guys had a good time as well.
Yeah, and on that note, night, Brian.
Night, Outhouse.
Do 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 do.